Now, the premise in regards to signature strengths is that we all have these innate strengths and qualities and attributes within ourselves as individuals. We are unique, and yet we have these strong strengths. Now, the more we use our strengths, the better, the happier and more successful we'll be as people, because we get a deeper sense of fulfillment when we're doing activities that best utilise our personal strengths. And what we also find is that happy people are more adept at utilising and identifying their strengths, and they worry less about fixing their weaknesses. One of the things we often hear is a very deficit approach to this actual thing with strengths. People often say, find your weaknesses and work on them, build up your weaknesses. But what positive psychology is doing is actually turning that on its head and saying, no, identify your strengths. They, within you, are the elements that make you who you are. Through using your strengths, you're going to get more fulfillment out of what you do each and every day. We do need to acknowledge we have weaknesses and look at ways to better enhance them. But if we're using our strengths constantly, we are going to enjoy what we are doing so much more. Right? So unfortunately, people do tend to see their negatives before they actually really acknowledge their strengths. So that's what we're going to be looking at here. Now, these strengths, or identifying strengths, comes into our CHOOSE model that underpins our whole course, right? Because positive psychology, and Dr. Timothy Sharp in particular with the CHOOSE model, actually has identified that identifying strengths is a valuable tool, right? Now, these strengths, and especially this VIA character strengths, has come about through Martin Seligman and Chris Peterson. These are the two positive psychologists that actually brought into being this VIA character strengths. If you ever want to go to sleep at night, you can have a look at this wonderfully amazing, comprehensive justification about the strengths. It is very in-depth, and it's not something I'd suggest you'd be reading at night time unless you have an absolute passion for wanting to identify strengths. But it is a good book, and if you ever go further into researching strengths, and especially the character strengths, this is the book to grab. Right, it's been written by Martin Seligman and Chris Peterson, who were the founders of these VIA character strengths. There are other strengths finders out there in the market now, and there's another one called Realise to Realise, and this is where Chris Peterson's taken it further afield, and it is a really good strengths finder. You'll get a lot out of it. It looks at it even more depth. They come up with 60 different strengths, whereas the one we're going to look at, this VIA character strengths, looks at 24 character strengths. The only thing with the Realise to Realise is there is a financial cost to it. So to be able to do that, you would have to pay. But if this really intrigues you and you want to find out more about identifying strengths, then have a look at the Realise to Realise and do it yourself, because it is very powerful, and it helps you to see the strengths that you have that energises you, and the strengths that you do have but they de-energise you as well. And so that's a good one to further look into. But let's have a look at this VIA character strengths. Now, the Authentic Happiness website is Martin Seligman's baby, right? So Authentic Happiness is his basic area where he has put this VIA character strengths. Now, he and Chris, as they started doing this research, they identified that there were 24 character strengths, but they were able to break them up into 6 virtues, or 6 values, I suppose, or themes might be another way to help you understand this. So 6 key themes that the 24 strengths fit underneath. So what they wanted to do when they did this research is that they went looking for characteristics that were closely connected to happiness. So this research went really broadly all over the world. They researched people, and what they were looking for were, what were the characteristics that emanated from people that connected to happiness. And as they started doing this, they actually found there were these 6 core characteristics. And these 6 core characteristics were endorsed universally. So the research went worldwide, and worldwide they found that these 6 core characteristics were throughout all. So Seligman actually called these the universal virtues, or the 6 values of authentic happiness. So we're going to delve into those now and see what they are before we go into the individual strengths. So this first one is wisdom and knowledge, right? And wisdom and knowledge aligns to the acquisition of information and the skill of applying it for a positive outcome. So for this particular one, this is all about positive traits that are linked to the acquisition of knowledge, and also through how you use that information or how you apply that to life. Also cognitive strengths. You know, people that love learning, people that just really take things in. So it's all about this wisdom and knowledge, the acquiring and the gaining of wisdom and knowledge. So that's the first element. The second one is about courage, the ability to stand up for what you value, and you admire the courage of others, especially those that differ to you. And so in this particular one, what we're looking at here is the actual traits that, personalisation traits that show strength and honour in what you're doing in life. It's those decisions to tend for others, to take care of others, to make the best for them. So the third one is about humanity and love, right? These are the positive traits that come through loving relationships, through manifesting through different caring forms of relationships that you have with other people. And for this one, it's this trait, this disposition to tend and befriend people. Right? And these people have a love for humanity, right? Looking at how they can help. So a lot of the traits that come in under this one all aligns to humanity and love. The next one is about justice. And this one, this strength, it has a concern for good citizenship, for equity, and it always strives for mutual respect. So with this particular one, it's broadly interpersonal, right? It's recognised within interactions between individuals and individuals in groups or individuals and communities, right? And it's all about justice and striving for that. The fifth one is temperance, the skill and the trait of temperance. And these are positive traits that protect from excess. Right? So these strengths are defined really in part by what a person refrains from doing. Right? So those people that have that ability to refrain, to not just step forward and do what they want, but refrain from it. And that comes under this temperance value. And the final one is transcendence. And for this one, this allows individuals to forge connections to the larger universe. You know, and therefore actually providing like deeper meaning to their lives. So they're the 6 character traits that Seligman and Peterson have identified through these VIA character strengths. And what we'll do very soon is actually now talk to each of these individual character traits.